to your life.
I woke up at 5:20, went running. Watched it. Fred Durst bought me from Limp Bizkit. Appreciate the gift, but I'm not about diamonds or money or nothing anymore.
Man, how do I pay a phone bill?
In other words, living in the Holy Land would not make them holy. Hey, today, get down, please.
Today proved it again. I used to be afraid.
Good morning. What is this about? Wow, I got to pray because I'll forget if I don't. Lord, thank you for your spirit pouring out on the earth. Thank you for your angels that are going throughout the earth, grabbing people, awakening people. Thank you for eyes open. Thank you for speaking to our imaginations and giving us pictures and dreams and all that stuff, Lord, because if it's dead religion, then it's nothing, Lord. You are so fun. You are so fun. So I just ask you to pour your spirit out on these people, especially the ones maybe that have not had that yet. Open their eyes to see that you are real, and this is an awesome adventure with you. In Jesus' name, amen. Yeah. I got a chain connected to my phone. Everybody asks me about it because I don't want to lose it ever. So I'll be looking at this a few times. So if you see it, I connect everything to me that I don't want to lose. So, yeah. I'm glad to be here. Happy New Year! Castleton. I grew up in a small town. Just like you, but there was no snow. It was in California. And I'm just going to tell you a story about one man who was no more important than anybody else. Just one man's journey. I'm going to tell you about my heart. Back in Bakersfield when I was 12 years old, I was just kind of empty in life. I started playing guitar when I was 10, and I got pretty good pretty quick. It was what I was good at. And but I was getting picked on a lot during school, so I just hung out in my bedroom a lot and practiced my guitar. And my best friends, you wouldn't call them friends, but they picked on me a lot and just like made me feel really bad about myself, you know. And so I was a little depressed little kid, and I'd have these little fantasies about stabbing them. I swear, I'd look at, we'll go hang out to school. It's kind of like late at night, and then I'd pull out a knife, slash them up. Because I used to watch horror flicks, and that was my thing, music and like Friday the 13th. And Halloween, or whatever it was called. And yeah, all the Halloween's a metal band, I think. But yeah, that was my life, just, you know, and I remember I met this kid right before high school, the summer before high school. His name was Kevin, and I'd go over his house. He was just like the nicest kid. He didn't treat me bad. Him and his sister got along. His parents got along. They all watched TV together, and they would always invite me over. Hey, Brian, you going to come over and watch the wrestling or whatever, and come jump on a trampoline in the backyard, whatever. They were just really nice to me, and one day during that summer, the mom asked me if I know who Jesus was. And I was like, well, I ate some of that stale bread in Episcopal church when I was little. That's about all I know. And she was like, Jesus, yeah, he's the savior of the world, honey. And he'll save us all from everything. And just told me about the Lord, you know. And so I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. And I went back and jumped on the trampoline. And a few weeks later, I was at home watching Friday the 13th again, rewinding all the parts when he cut off his head. And I remember just thinking about that Jesus thing, and I was like, I pushed pause, I went in the bathroom, got on my dad's like floor of his bathroom, and I just said, Jesus, will you come into my heart and be my savior? You know, I just did that. I was like, hey, if he's a savior, I want him. You know, so I got up. I remember I felt something. I felt like it was just really, I felt like just real innocence, you know, and I felt like a purity. I don't know what it was. I was just, I guess, I don't know. It was so quick. I was like, I want him to come in my heart. If it, you know, I didn't know if it was real or anything. I just did it. So, you know, I went and lived my life. I met the guys in Korn. and when I was in school, and we got in these little cheesy bands, and we all ended up moving to L.A. area when we were around 19 to 20, around there. And yeah, we were in this other band called Creep before Korn, and the singer wasn't that good, so we fired him. We found Jonathan Davis, a singer that would become Korn, and we heard about him. He was still in Bakersfield, where we grew up, and we were in L.A. We heard about him, and one of the things that he was known for is working with dead people. He was a mortician assistant, and he did all that stuff in that whole field of glamorous work. And so, yeah, he used to be on, he would take body bags home and freak his friends out and all kinds of stuff. So how cool is that, right? I was like, I don't care if he can't sing. That's a cool story for a metal singer. So just let's hire him. So, yeah, we ended up talking him into it. He was in another band, and then he had that awesome job. So he was like, I can't really leave. And we were like, just come down and hang out with us, and we'll just go from there. And he came down. We started playing some original songs we wrote to him, and he grabbed the mic and started trying to write lyrics or just sing, just jam out. We were like, oh, my gosh, that is so awesome. He goes, God, your band is so good. It's like it's really heavy. And so he started thinking about it. He's like, man, maybe I should move down here. So he quit his job, and he got a job at Pizza Hut. He went from dead bodies to pizzas, and all of us worked at Pizza except for one guy. And so that was it. We formed Korn, and we came up with the K and the backwards R because just he's saying a lot about abuse and stuff like that. So we were thinking like if a kid tried to write it and spelled it all wrong. But yeah, we started writing songs. We did everything we could to get big. We made flyers, we made stickers, plastered them everywhere. We just tell people, telemarketers when they call you up and they're like, da-da-da, you got to try to sell you stuff. We sold our band. We were like, you got to come to our show. Da-da. We would just hit up everybody. And if they couldn't come, then we ended up renting a bus one time. We got a beat-up school bus and said, look, we're getting a bus for you. Chip in $5 for the gas. We got a keg of beer in there for you. And we filled that bus. You put beer anywhere back then. Everybody comes on. So, yeah, we filled the buses, and then we would just hit Hollywood and go to our shows we were playing, and we got a buzz around Hollywood. This band Korn, I don't know, they're these dreadlock dudes, and they're playing heavy music, and they bring buses loads of people, and everyone's like, cool, because that's just numbers, right? It's business. You bring people, they buy drinks, and so we just did that for like a few months, a year, or something like that, and we started getting the record company started to, come on board and all that. And we started getting offers. And it was a cool thing. It was like my dream was starting to come true right before my eyes, Record companies coming after my band. Like, that's what I dreamt about. That's what I wanted. That's what the fulfillment of life, And, ever since that Jesus thing happened, I just forgot about it. I just went about my life, did the music, and I was drinking a lot of beer with my friends. That was my main thing. There was some weed involved. I remember I did have a drug phase around that time, right before we got all the members in Korn. I remember one of my roommates started selling acid, so I took it one night, and it was just like, whoa, this is awesome. I went to the lifeguard stand by the beach, and we were just frying. And I remember I was on a lifeguard stand. It was all dark, and I was going like that, and the whole thing felt like it was bending. And I looked into the footprints in the sand, and it looked like they were talking to me. Hey, Brian. And I woke up the next morning. It was like, that was awesome. About a week later, I did it again. We ended up going to the mountains with a bunch of people. And this one girl goes, I'm having a bad trip. And all of us go, ah, me too. We start running around the mountains. How do we get out of here? It was like a nightmare. It was like, that's what drugs do. They reel you in. They're like, the first time I did it was awesome. The second time I was like, ah! But I was done with drugs after that. I didn't do any for about 2 years. but yeah, when we started Korn, one of our managers was like, he was a meth head. And so, he was trying to keep it hidden from us. And then one night we were like all drunk and didn't know where we were. And he was like, here, this will sober you up. So we did a line, and we were like, come on, man. Totally, And so we started doing speed. Like 3 of us in the band started doing speed around there. And I got addicted to it pretty bad. And I don't know, when you come down off speed, I don't know if anybody's done it, but like, it's like all you want to do is sleep and eat sugar. That's it. And so I was like, I had to work during the week. I'd do speed all weekend, and I didn't understand the come down thing. Like, no one told me about all this. And I was just doing it. And during the week, I'd be like, just eating like Snickers and ice cream, like trying to deliver pizzas and all that. And just going into rage fits. And I was like, what's wrong with me? Do you think maybe it's the drugs that are doing that? And I had no idea. But so I did that. And once we got signed, though, we kind of quit the speed because we were like, dude, if that stuff's eating us up, eating our lives up at home, if we took it on the road, like, we ain't going to be able to function. And our band's not going to make it and all that. So we all stopped it when we hit the road. And, when we got our first record deal, we were all able to kick, or not kick, but get rid of the Pizza Hut gig. We were like later, and so we all got like, I don't know, between 15 and like 25 grand each, and it was like winning the lottery, man. And we just we went into the studio, recorded an album, hit the road. I remember they didn't really know where to put Korn in the beginning. It was like our first show was with No Doubt. You know that band, No Doubt? Right? And they were nothing back then either. They were just from, some band from L.A., but then they put us with a band called Bad Religion, which is a punk band. Then they put us with like hip-hop, House of Pain. You know that song, Jump Around? That one. So we did a whole tour with them. That was one of our first tours. And then we started selling records. And they're like, hey, man, I think you guys are going to do pretty good. And so they hooked us up with Marilyn Manson, Danzig. Marilyn Manson was the weirdest tour I ever been on. You could read my book if you want to read, hear some more about that. But it was just like, yeah, he lives in that role constantly. So it's not just an act. So we started selling records like, I don't know, 1,000 a week or something. And then we got the Megadeth tour, which is Metallica. Anybody heard of Metallica? Megadeth, that dude came from Metallica back in the old days. And so we got on that tour, and our records started selling like from 3 to 5 grand, 1,000 of them a week. So it was just started taking off. After that, 95, we got Ozzy Osbourne tour. I had that dude plastered on my wall when I was a kid. Him and the fangs and the little people, and the little hoods, and just like Randy Rhoads, his guitar player, was my favorite. The guy that died in a plane crash back in the 80s. And so opening for Ozzy was just like dream come true, And I remember just first seeing him, like, the first week or something on tour. He was a big jogger because that dude's known for partying. Like, at one time he snorted a line of live ants, like, just to freak everybody out. So that's how crazy. But when we hit the road with him, he was trying to do good. So he was always jogging. We'd see, he was like, "Is that Ozzy?" He'd be like, "Oh yeah." And it's just like, I was like, there goes Ozzy again. Ozzy! Oh, yeah. I got to run. And so I was like, he tried to talk to us a couple of times. I was like, what? I'm like, I don't care. I can't understand you. You're Ozzy and you're so cool. I don't even care. You can mumble all you want. But so that was just a dream come true. Our record on that tour skyrocketed. It hit 500,000. We got a gold plaque, and him and his wife, Ozzy and his wife, came in and gave us champagne one day, and he was mumbling, and she was like, "What? You guys are gonna go very far in this business." And I was like, "Man, Sharon Osbourne, she's one that resurrected his career. He was locked in a hotel room after Black Sabbath, and she helped get him up, and he's still going today." So that meant a lot, and she was right, because we did hit it. Our second record came out, hit number 3 on Billboard. I remember I didn't buy a house yet, and I still had a beat-up Celica. And so I'd see myself on MTV like 4 a.m. I'd be like, "Dude, we're on MTV." I try to call people. Oh, wait, it's 4 a.m. And then I look outside my window and see my beat-up Celica with dents in it and stuff. I'd be like, "Wait, I'm on TV and I got that. Wait, something." So, but we started making money right about then. And I remember I bought a house around that time, and I ended up getting married to this girl I was with. Her name was Rebecca, and she was kind of crazy. She was a little punk rock girl, and just like, I don't know, we kind of made it through, but she was nuts. Whenever she got mad at me, she just like, boom, punched me. And I'm like, who's this crazy girl? I don't know. But we ended up just staying together, and we got married around 98, had our child, Janaea, in 98, and that's when things just hit the roof. It was like Korn the third record went #1, skyrocketed, and that's when things went crazy. And I'm talking like MTV every day. It was like we were getting played as much as NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, and Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, Limp Bizkit, Eminem. Like we're getting all kinds of video play. That was when they played music, by the way, instead of all these stupid reality shows. But it was just skyrocketing, man. And I had a family, I was married, and so just that lifestyle, the two lifestyles were kind of clashing because on the road it was just chaos, But it was really dark, It seemed to me like when I was a kid, when I was just imagining the rock star life, it was like everything would be perfect, For filming, you got money, you got fans, you can basically buy anything you want, And so when I was there in the middle of it, it was just kind of, this is it. And, I was always away from my family, and my wife was always complaining I was gone, and I was like, look, I bought your dream house. I bought you got a awesome car, awesome house, a beautiful baby, all the money that we can need, and a white horse. She always wanted a white horse. So I got our house in a neighborhood by the beach that the sidewalks, instead of sidewalks, they had horse trails. So, you know what I mean? It was like, be quiet. You got everything, Let me just go tour. I miss you too, but, we got to do this. It's not going to last forever. And, when you're that big, all the coke dealers want to come to the show. All the drug dealers want to come because that's business, And so they would work their way backstage because most of the crew and most of the bands are doing drugs. So every day it was just dark, It was just like party. It was day after day. It was like party. Girls backstage, all the alcohol you could want, drugs, everything. And it was just like it became this routine, just darkness. And I tried to balance it. So I'd work out in the back of the equipment truck when all the equipment was on stage, during the day. I'd try to work out, and it's just, it didn't work. If you drink 20 beers in a night and then work out the next day, you're not healthy. It's just, you know what I mean? That's all. I was just trying all this stuff, and, I'd be talking to my wife every day, and it was just a constant routine. It was just kind of empty, It was just, I don't know. It just wasn't what I thought it was going to be. The fourth record came out, another #1 record, MTV, so all that stuff. And that's when my marriage started going south. I started getting back into speed around that time. My daughter was a little older, and when I'd come home, I'd spend time with the family. Then me and my wife would be like, hey, let's get some drugs. And we'd do it we'll just do it one night. It's okay. We'd stay up all night. The baby would be sleeping, and we just function the next day, kind of all tweaked out, but, just functioning drug addicts or whatever. And but when I left, I was like, okay, I'm not going to do any drugs. You don't either. It's just like a one-time thing. Go have some fun. But she started doing speed all the time when I was gone. She'd be lying to me, and crazy things happened around that time. She got hooked up with these skinhead dudes and this gang of skinheads, and about probably 7 or 8 people moved in my house. One became her boyfriend. I don't know if you're Nazi lowriders. I think a couple of them were from that, and it was crazy. I started hearing rumors, I'm on tour with Metallica or whatever, and Kid Rock, System of a Down, and, big tour this summer. And I'm getting phone calls. My friend said there's skinheads trying to sell stuff in his pawn shop that he saw in my house. And I'm like, what? I call my house and get my wife on the phone. Blank, 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 what the blank, blank? And she'd be like, your friend's crazy. I got friends over here, but they're just protecting me. I don't want to be home alone. You're always gone. So she had these skinheads move in and protect her, but one of them was her boyfriend. And it was pretty crazy. And it was it was like a nightmare in the middle of my dream I was living. And so what I did was I said, I'm coming home. We're going to talk face to face. I don't know what's going on, but we're talking. So I told her when I was coming home, and she knew I was going to be there that day, so she split with all her friends. And there was my daughter with a babysitter. I grabbed my daughter. I took her on the road. I said, she's not going to be around all this crazy stuff. And all those people were gone out of my house, and I think I changed the locks or something. And so here I was. I stopped partying. I went from like 20 beers a night to like a 6-pack, because I needed beer to function. I was just like, I lived on the stuff. So I stopped doing any drugs on the road. And, I was doing coke. And you can function on coke. And just when they were doing meth at my house, I was like, scumbags. I only do coke, no. But I stopped doing that when the baby was around, And it shows you how crazy a person is. It's just, when you don't have God, it's just, you're looking for pleasure in life because you haven't tasted heaven yet, And it's like, that's why I don't knock anybody. I've been through it all. And people are just looking for fun and pleasure. Because this world, truthfully, it sucks a lot of times, And you need to escape somehow. You're going to do it with worldly stuff, or you're going to do it through the Spirit and encounter heaven. So I didn't have heaven then. I was trying to find heaven in other things. And so, I did that for a while. And, I got full custody of my daughter. My wife didn't show up for court. She was too gacked out on speed, and I was just getting my life together. I was like, okay, I'm going to get sober. I'm going to raise this kid right. I got a nanny. By that time, I moved back to Bakersfield, where we grew up. It's about 2 hours outside of L.A. And my mom was helping with the baby and everything. And I got sober for a little bit, and then 9/11 happened. Remember all that? So I was sober when that happened. Me and my friend, they're talking about anthrax and in the mail and other terrorist attacks. And we're like, is this World War III? And my friend who I got sober with was like, hey, man, if it all goes down, like, you want to be sober? And I was like, no, do you? And so that was our excuse to start drinking again. So we started drinking, and then, all the scares, how it just kind of faded away. And that was it. I lit up the party thing again. So I was on the road doing the same old stuff. By this time, I started messing around with pills. We had doctors that would give us anything. Hey, give me some Xanax, doc. They'd write us. We had people in L.A. that would give us pill bottles, Vicodin, anything we wanted. It wasn't for anything. We'd say, oh, I got anxiety. Can I have 300 Xanax? You know what I mean? It was just stupid. And my back hurts. Can I have 400 Vicodin? And I started taking like 20. I was up to like 20 Vicodin a day. I would just take them off. I know. It was like, are you serious? So I remember I stopped that, and then it was just like beer and Coke, and I was right back in the same routine. And I swore I wanted to do crystal meth, though, because those scumbag skinheads, my ex-wife, I wanted them dead. And I wasn't going to do crystal again. But I was hanging out in between tours one night back in Bakersfield, and my mom was watching the kid, and I was hanging out with this dude. He had an oil field business, and he had a bunch of employees, and most of them were on speed. We were talking about it. I was like, I used to do that stuff. He's like, yeah, me too. I don't do that. All my employees do. They work really hard and fast. But he's like, you want to do something like the old days just once, though? And I was like, nah, man. I don't do that stuff no more. About 6 beers later, I was like, all right, call him up, man. Let's do it. So he got the meth. And I was like, I'm just going to do it once. Boom. The next weekend, he was over my house again. All right, one more time. Then I hit the road in like 2 weeks. So this will be last time. And then the next weekend, I had that dude's number, the dealer. And I was like, hey, man. So I became just a speed junkie pretty much from that day forward. I had the Lincoln Park tour, the Project Revolution. I took just 3 8-balls of speed. I was just doing little lines. Because at first, you just need a little bit, and you're like awake. And then halfway through the tour, I needed that much, And then that summer passed. Christmas came. I was still doing it. I went on a tour to Asia, all of Asia, Australia, New Zealand, Europe. I packed speed in my bags, and I was crossing borders with it. I ran out of speed in Europe, and I had my dealer send me 2 or 3 8-balls in these big candles that he made to, I would track my package. I'd be like, there's my package. And it'd land in London. Then it went to like somewhere in Germany. And then it landed at my hotel. I was like, either they found my drugs or I'm going to just be functioning. Luckily, I didn't get caught. And but I got scared, man, because I got brought up right. My parents are still together to this day. That's a miracle in this day and age, right? So I felt bad. I was like, man, my mom would disapprove of this. I'm like getting 8 balls sent to all over the world. I'm like, I just felt guilty. And I was like, my daughter, like I'm just addicted to porno, addicted to drugs, just a piece of trash. And I come home, hi, Daddy. And I look at her and I'm just like, I feel like a loser, you know? And so I wanted to get sober for that kid. I was like, because I started getting like, I was like, man, I'm no good for her either. Her mom was bad for her, but look at me. I'm doing the same thing. And I was like, I'd just be better off dead, man. And I would think about just being dead. And I didn't have the nerve to kill myself. But I was like, and I was mixing speed and Xanax every day just so I can get some kind of sleep, you know, at night. And I'd just go to bed some nights going, man, that would be so cool if I didn't wake up, you know. Because I'm like, what am I going to teach my daughter? I'm going to be like, hey, honey, life is good. Go for your dreams. When they come true, you'll be so happy. And I'm like, I'm miserable. I got millions of dollars, my cars, my houses, whatever, and I'm totally miserable, you know. I didn't feel like I was good for her. And so, you know, as a last resort, I was like, I got to get sober so I could rethink all this stuff. I'm just, the road life, the party life is just eating me alive, but I can't stop because once you stop, everybody else is partying around you on the road, you know, and you're just like, and it's just like you can't get away from it. And so I was like, I'm going to get sober and rethink this Korn thing, and maybe I'll just find something else to do. So I started doing real estate, you know, and I was a speed addict, real estate dude, and but I swear it worked. I was like, I had this partner, it was when before the crash, you know, and I was like, I was making all kinds of money, and these guys I was doing real estate with were Christians. So it was all like, I was thinking about a new career, and I was thinking about money, but meanwhile, these guys and their wives were like plotting. No, they were like, this guy's kind of messed up. You could see he's messed up, you know, but they didn't ever push nothing. They were just like, hey, man, you know, they liked my money because when I put money in, it would make them money, you know, but you could see that they cared more about me than all that, you know, because I was just, I was lost, you know. And so they never pushed Jesus on me at all, though, and they didn't. One day I was just talking to them, and I was like, man, I really need something. I was thinking inside of my head, and I asked them, I said, what is this about, you know? And they invited me to church. I ended up going to church with them. And I remember walking to that church. I was up all night on speed because I did speed all the time. I just did it to function. I remember getting in there. It was dark, and there's people just, you know, doing that thing. And the music was playing. And I was like looking around, and I was looking. I didn't know it was going. I'd never been in church before. I was in Episcopal church when I was a kid, and it was like you're in a funeral. You know, it was all quiet, and you know, all these people were like, and I'm like, okay. They're acting weirder than me, and I've been up for 3 nights on speed. But okay. And I felt this peace. They started playing that song, Majesty, and I felt this peace, and there was a stirring going on inside. And I just remember, you know, saying, okay, what is this? You know, and the pastor got up and talked, and he was talking about how he used to be an alcoholic. He abused his wife, and she ended up leaving him, and he gave his life back to God because he grew up Christian. He was running from it. God put his whole life back together and put his marriage back together. He started a family, started a church, and there I was in his church. He started with 5 people, and there was like 10,000 members. And I was just listening to him going, man, I wonder if God can do that in my life, you know? Just like maybe my story right now is talking to you guys, you know, some of you guys. And I just remember I was like, I got to try this. If it doesn't work, I'll go to a rehab or something. I just got to get sober for my kid. And I remember I raised my hand, I received Christ in my heart, and I went home, and I started praying. That guy said if you bring all your junk to Jesus, all of it will start to fall away. And it can't stay. And so I was like praying every day. Yeah. I was like, all right, Lord, I'm out of the church, away from the crazy people. Now it's just me and you. Look at these drugs I'm doing. I had all my 8 balls right there, and I was like, I'm going to die from this stuff. Please take this stuff from me. I just talked to him like he was real. And I was like, I didn't see nothing, you know. I was facing a wall. But I was like, they say you're real. I don't know how this stuff works, but make me a new man, give my daughter a father that could take care of her. And you know what I mean? And a little bit after I got done praying, my phone rang. And I was on speed, all tweaked out, so I didn't want to answer it. But the machine picked it up. Dude, Brian, this is Doug. Hey, dude, I heard you came to my church. Dude, God is so real. Give me a call. We got to hook up. That guy was in the room the first time I did speed, years before. I hadn't seen him in a long time. He got saved. So I was like, after I prayed, I was like, so you pray and then like he sends people to, it's tripping out. And you know what I mean? I was like, that's a quick answer. But I didn't call him back because I was like, oh man, I'm getting ready to stop drugs. So I was like, I knew it. So I was like, even though I was asking for help, I was addicted. I was like, this may be the last line, you know? And I knew it. I was insane. You know, you're insane when you do drugs. And so I didn't call him back right away. And but once I did, I started hanging out with him, and they started praying for me. I started going to church, and what I did was I stopped all the drugs. I was like, I quit for like a week, and I was doing so good, and I didn't even, when you come down off of speed, you need to sleep for like a month. And I was fine. I felt like alive. I was like, I slept for like a day or two, and I felt good, and I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And I was doing good, so good. I was going to church on Wednesdays and everything. And then I remember someone told me that I should just go and clean my house out and get rid of stuff that maybe just negative influence on me. I remember I went home and I was looking through my closet where I used to do drugs. I opened a first aid kit, and a 8-ball of speed came rolling out of it. That's what tweakers do. I hid my drugs in a first aid kit. Come on. But I looked at it and I was like, before I could even think, no, don't do it, I was snorting it. And I disappeared from all the church people, all my friends, my new friends at church. They were calling me, hey, where's he at? Brian, where you been, man? I haven't heard from you. I was like, I ain't talking. I put my Bible in the drawer, thinking God couldn't see me or something. But I remember that last binge, I couldn't get high the same way. I felt guilty. I was like, I don't know. I would snort it, and I just didn't feel like I was like, man, I hope I'm not getting Jesus high, because they told me he comes and lives inside of me. Lord, I'm sorry. I felt all this crazy stuff. I felt guilt. I was like, how many more lines can you snort to be fulfilled in life, right? And so I was just, at the end of that week, I remember I was thumbing through my Bible. I was still snorting, and just everything I read was jumping out at me. And I remember this peace, this peace came in the room, and it felt like Jesus came like behind me. It's like arms of light were just around me. And it was like the most intense feeling of eternity and heaven being poured into the room. I was like looking up, looking for something, like an angel or something was going on. And I'm telling you, by that right after that, the next day I threw away all my drugs. I've been completely changed ever since that day. Like, it's crazy. It was supernatural. Like, I was trying myself. I was going to church. I was trying. The Lord saw my heart. It says that the eyes of the Lord look throughout the earth, looking for hearts that are completely His. I was trusting in Him. I was reading the Bible. I was fellowshipping with Christians. I was going to church, but I couldn't stop on my own. So He had to do it. He sent someone or came Himself or something, touched me that day, and everything left. And I haven't drank. I haven't done any speed. I haven't done any pills, anything since that day. It's like, yeah. No one can tell me God isn't real, ever. And ever since then, I ended up walking away from Korn and just raising my daughter for years. And there's a big contract. They got like $23 million after I left, and I didn't get a dime of it. And I was like, I don't care, Lord. I've been following money my whole life, and it was just like empty. And the real estate thing, it didn't work out after I left Korn. I ended up moving out of the whole California. I was there my whole life. I felt like the Lord said, follow me to a place you do not know, like Abraham. And I was like, let's go. I'm in. Let's ride. And so, yeah, the Lord just been, and I've been growing ever since then. It's in 4 days, it's going to be 9 years for me. So, yeah. And I've been speaking. I started speaking. I wrote a book. That's a miracle in itself, man. I wrote it like I was not good in school. I graduated, but barely, just to make my dad, so he threatened to take my car away and stuff. So I was like, all right, I'll do it. So I just wasn't good, and that book is just a miracle. It's touched like countless lives. It's called Save Me From Myself, which we all need. And yeah, it's just, man, it's the Lord. He just wants your heart, man. He just wants your heart, and it's all about that. Just that relationship every day, you know. And the Bible, I started reading the Bible, and I just started realizing, like, the Bible's not an old, boring history book. The Bible is about stories about people who had a relationship with God, and all of those people that had that relationship, you can have it now. I can have it now. So when you read the Bible, you need to think about, like, when he's talking to some, you know, you just need to just believe that he wants to be in a relationship with you, like Moses, like David, like, you know, and Jesus coming into this earth allows us to become one with God. Like we become one. It says we become one spirit with him, and we're no longer two anymore. And you know, he does want us to get rid of the junk in our lives, but he does it. Just be open to it. You know, just be like, God, you know, I want this stuff out of my life, but I can't do it. You know, come help me do this. I just want to know you. Basically, he just wants to know you. And I wrote something down earlier. It's just like, I remember I just started sharing the darkest, like all secrets, good and bad, to the Lord. When I got saved, I was like, everything. I brought everything to him. And, you know, it's a funny thing. When you share all your secrets with him, God starts to share his secrets with you. Because he could trust you, and he can see that your heart is different, and that you're trying to invite him in. And I did everything, man. I went to a non-denominational church at first, and then I went to the Pentecostal church a few weeks later, actually. And you know, they're all like, I was like, this is the weirdest thing I ever seen. But if it's you, God, I want it. I don't care. I started looking in the Bible, like, there's angels. There's, like, awesome, beautiful angels and everything, but there's some freaky angels by God's throne. Like, there's some weird stuff going on in heaven sometimes. And I was like, all right, the Pentecostals are weird. I don't want that. Whatever. And ever since then, I've been to Pentecostal churches. I've been to non-denominational. I've been to Baptist. I don't care. You love Jesus? I love Jesus. I don't care. We don't agree the same thing. Everyone's got to stop arguing. You know what I mean? It makes me sick. Like, if some rock dude, you know, drug addict can get it. I was like, why are you people arguing, man? Did you know that Jesus is like, loves us all? Who cares if they believe whatever? Can't we just get that one thing in common and get over it, right? And it's like, man, that's probably why a lot of people, imagine going to being in heaven and being like, you guys arguing? Jesus is like, you guys arguing all that time? This is the amount of people that arguing kept them out because they didn't want any part of this. Imagine, like, answering to that. You just be like, you know what I mean? So just humble yourself, man. Just humble yourself. And I'm just going to say one last thing. Oh, you want to come back? Come back up? Yeah. I'm just saying, man, whatever happened to me, you guys can have the same thing. I know many of you have experienced it, but don't stay where you're at. You know, just go higher and higher and higher with the Lord. Like, just, you know, it's so good. It's so good. You think worldly highs are high. You know, you can't go higher than the Most High. God is called the Most High. And so just keep going, man. And I just encourage you guys. I'm going to hand it over to the pastor now. And thank you guys for having me in your cold city. I'm honored being here.
Come on.
The sign blows me away, too. I didn't know that.
Come on, tell him that you loved what he had to say. Wasn't that powerful?
Thank you, guys.
Hello.